And then we get to the big birthday party. And, the Acclaimed made their entrance, and Castor rapped about Billy Gunn's birthday, and it's a birthday party, and there's a table in the ring with the presents and all the stuff. And everybody's waiting for me to shit on this. But honestly, again, you see this constantly. And the WWF, it looks even worse because they have a bigger budget, and the balloons and the empty wrapped boxes and the bows around the ring posts and all the shit. And you see shit like this on Raw constantly, on SmackDown constantly. We've seen it here before, parties and celebrations and blah, blah, blah. So it doesn't stand out. But if you didn't see it all the time, this segment would have worked till the end, at least. If it was the only silly segment that you saw for a several week period of time, if it was the only party segment you'd seen in a few months or whatever, these guys are over. They've kind of got a personality that allows them to be silly. Billy Gunn has really caught on with these people. It's one of these things also that a lot of times I've said, when a lot of the rest of the show is the shits, the fans will decide for themselves, amongst themselves, how they want to amuse themselves and whether they want to just get some odd fucking guy or team or whatever over. And that's played a part in it. And it works for them. So, and they were being silly amongst themselves. They weren't being silly with people they were supposed to be mad at. So again, they did a good job. They brought out the presents, the world's greatest dad trophy, the whole 9 yards, and then the certificate of adoption, where Billy can sign it and he could actually be their real adopted dad. And of course, this is ridiculous. But again, it works for them. Until here come the ass boys. And they're pissed off, obviously, at their father turning his back. And holy jumping howdy, suddenly in from behind comes the great value Kevin Nash, William Morrissey. Apparently that is his real name. I just kept, William Morris was in my mind, but W. Morrissey, but Taz was calling him, oh, there's Bill Morrissey. At least it wasn't Jim Morrison. But W. Morrissey hits from behind, and they jump the baby faces, and they get heat on them briefly until FTR's music plays, and they get a huge pop from the crowd. Because, again, Baltimore would love to see FTR like we all would. And they come down, and by the time they get in the ring, the heels have powdered no contact. They didn't even get to make a fucking comeback. And FTR picks up the tag team belts and hands them with stern faces to the Acclaimed. And at that point, I wrote, I smell another 8-man tag team match coming. And I got news for you. Before the show's over, somebody's going to win that pony. What'd you think, Brian, here?
Well, I do love the idea that Tony's response to the way Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks have treated FTR behind the scenes is to have them come out every week and get a pop for their music and then leave. We still don't see them wrestle. All they do now is they play the music, they get a pop for them coming out, and then people quickly realize they're not wrestling and they get deflated. Horrible use of FTR, a horrible booking of FTR. Look, I like the Acclaimed, and they got themselves over, and they had the National Scissoring Day, and they've gotten away with a lot of stuff because they're really over right now. You're right that we see too much of the other stuff, but for me and my personal tastes, I wasn't crazy about the Acclaimed segment. I'd like to see them just actually start having matches. And let Max Caster...
That would be a plus.
Let Max Caster just rap on the way to the ring, the thing that actually got them over that they don't do anymore.
What happened to that trademark deal also? Did they win that back, or did we miss something?
What trademark deal?
Remember Mark Sterling, the fake lawyer, trademarked Scissor Me Daddy.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to that. It must have happened on one of the other shows that no one watches. So I don't like that. And I have to be honest, I hated this week's show. I'm just going to say it here. No MJF. So there's not that
Well,
one
no,
segment.
after we saw what they had MJF involved in and what he was doing last week, I think no MJF is good MJF. At least he ain't going in the wrong direction if he ain't doing anything.
It showed you a lot this week. What happens when you take MJF's one segment out of that show, the rest of the show, to me, for my sensibilities, and I try to like AEW. If everyone thinks I just hate it, I really want AEW to work. It'll be good for everybody, but it sucks right now. It's so bad. The TV's awful. The booking's bad. And there's nothing to look forward to. This whole show.
The booking's bad. The TV is awful. There's nothing to look forward to, but I want them to succeed.
I do. I want, you know what?
I know it just, I can't believe you're still optimistic at this point.
But I didn't like this. You liked it though.
I know I didn't. It works for them. It wasn't offensive. It except until, to me, if you're going to do something like that, these people do it with, except then again, we get another beatdown with other either brand new or unknown people, W. Morrissey, climaxing in another meaningless 8-man tag where a bunch of people are grouped together for no reason, and the two fucking people that everybody wants to see that are being hidden and buried by the EVPs are once again hidden and buried in the middle of it. But they can claim, well, they're on there. We had them do something.